watch Survivor, and when the show ends, you really want to talk about it with like-minded friends. It might be hard to find some, but don't you shed a tear. Check out the Purple Rock Podcast, and this is what you'll hear. John will make some dumb jokes, Andy likes to yell and curse, and if they're not available, the backup hosts are so much worse. Spend the whole time being jerks, telling you you're wrong, and so we got this other jerk to sing you our theme song. It's the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast.
Welcome to the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast. I am John. My co-host is Andy, and this week we're talking Survivor 49, Episode 8. Andy, unlike this group of 10, you and I will never be broken apart, unless, of course, I have other plans. Maybe I've got something else going on.
Yeah, sometimes I'm ready to record a podcast, and then I just see you go by in a boat. I'm like, well, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Is he coming back? What?
Honestly, pretty similar to the situation last week.
Yeah.
It was honestly not that far off. I think you had a solid, hour lead time. So good on you for throwing that thing together last minute.
Thanks again to Purple Rock Emma for stepping in there.
Sure. However, this week, of course, we got the band back together. So let's start where we always do with, did you like this episode?
Yeah, so that's a tough answer. Tougher than normal, I suppose, because I think objectively this was a good to very good episode of Survivor.
Really?
I think it had all of the stuff and like lots of interesting turns and all that. And yet I found myself when it's like, this should be good. And I don't care.
I mean, that's where I'm at in that it's not going to motivate me to be like invested in anything. Like I didn't really care about the outcome. There was one, the only outcome that I'm truly invested in is like, well, don't vote out Sage. And then once I knew that
didn't seem to be on the table.
Right. And once I knew that's not a risk, I'm like, well, then does it really matter? Like ideally, I probably would have preferred the vote be Rizo, which we'll get into later. But like, once it moved off that, I was like, well, okay. And even the Sage thing is not all that big a deal because I don't think she wins. She doesn't seem like someone who's going to be the winner. So there's investment.
I mean, I'm not ruling it out.
It's just,
I hear what you're saying, but I'm not like, she's not in my 0% club.
Well, it's just, to me, I didn't expect her to be anything like the player she actually is. It's, she's blessed by my low expectations, but I'm still holding those same opinions that I had very early on of like, well, yeah, but not her. She's a weirdo. They're not going to let her win.
I mean, we'll have plenty of time to talk about whether she is a winner or not, with the caveat that we were two people were like, you know what, I really think Caroline could win. So yeah, take it all with a grain of salt. But yeah, no, like this episode just really underscored it because I'm like, I feel like this is good stuff. And I just don't care. It hit
the right beat. It's kind of like if you're watching like someone go through and they're giving a performance, right? And it's like you're standing in all the right places, you're doing all the right steps, hitting all the right notes, and I'm like, good for you, I guess. But
yeah, like maybe watching like teams that you're not invested in play. It's like, oh, good basketball stuff, but like I don't care. And it's unfortunate because like I'm unlike you going to be here every week talking about this show. And like I get it. It's not fun to tune in every week for hear us be like, and like, yeah, and to tune in next week, please tune in next week. I mean, do or do not. It really doesn't matter. I mean, I like to have an audience. It would feel stupid to do this if we didn't have it, but you do you, individual listener. But I get it. Like, why do I want to tune in every week for somebody who is telling me that they're checked out? But it's just like, I'm clearly checked out. Like, it's not like a choice. Again, I'm not trying to be. I want to have, and we are going to have stuff to talk about. I think it gave us stuff to talk about. I just have not formed any kind of emotional attachment to anyone anyone but Sage, right?
Yeah.
Like, as you said, like, this was not really even though she was involved throughout the entire one, it was never really like, oh no, not. And also kind of like what you're getting at. I'm not like, I like her best. I'm impressed by her every week, and there was stuff this week too, which we'll talk about later. But I also don't care if she wins or not, right? You know, it's not like if and when the time comes she's voted out, I'm not gonna be like, oh no, not Sage. You know, I'll be like, yeah, that fits. So it's just, and I think this is just a symptom of everything that came before it. The fact that they did not build up these people was a complaint I had throughout due to the structure of it. Now, I feel like there's been enough time that we've moved away from that structure. It's been enough time since there was a loser tribe that was just disadvantaged. But I also can say that, like, man, they did not nail it with this cast. You know,
well, that's
like,
what I'm saying.
Yeah. For a while, I was giving them a bit of a pass, the cast, because it's like, how do I know? We're only spending time with one tribe. Now we've spent enough with it. It was like, this feels very much like the time and energy was put into casting season 50.
Yep. Yeah, that's, you know, I feel like there's a lot of references to, you know, if it's even like canon on the show, like, hey, we're casting for 50 now. Like, it was, even that moment was just like, oh yeah, you guys just really don't give a shit what's going on in this season, which kind of comes across, right? Like, same, bro. It's, I just can't, I had the impression early on where I'm like, I know we're stuck with the loser tribe and we're going to see a lot of them, but even the glimpses that we're getting of these other tribes, I'm like, this is not doing it for me. I'm not super hopeful that once we get more time with these other people that I'm going to like them more. And I think that's bearing out. Just, and I'm with you. I don't want to be like shitting on it. I do think this episode gave us stuff to talk about. So it's not the worst type of episode where we're just like, what do we even say about this? Like there were things that happened. It's just, it's hard for me to get as invested as I do in some seasons because this cast is just not resonating with me.
Yeah. And that's like, I just have a hard time remembering because for one, it's just a hard thing to remember what I'm about to say. The last time I was like this uninvested in a season, like there's just no emotional investment. There were seasons I disliked more at this point. But that's an emotion, you know?
Right.
This is just like, it's just indifference. And it's like, yeah, I think maybe the San Juan del Sur stands out in that regard. And I know everybody's like, how dare? And maybe that's like, a positive if you want to look at it this way. This is following that template is like that season finished strong. Finished in a way that we were engaged, finished in a way that it's fooled people from years to come that this was not anything but mediocre to bad season.
I mean, 2 good episodes out of 13 and people are like, no, that shit slapped. It was so good. Like, but did it?
It's also because of who won.
Yeah.
And I don't mean necessarily the character, but, you know, the demographics that they fulfill, which was stunningly different than all of the other demographics around that person. Yep. So I get it. It's like, man, it was nice to see a woman win for one time and she kicked ass doing it. But man, this point in that season, we were just talking about fucking food.
Yep. And would continue to for several more weeks.
Yeah. And like, oh, the trail mix incident and there's this challenge. Now, to further that along, a lot of our top 3 lists have been about food. Some of it's been tangential, you know, like that's not, I don't know if that's really on the episodes, but I don't know. Like, so it's just like, yeah, man, I didn't hate the episode. It was, I think it was good. I just, it really just stood out to me. Like, when, again, we're 2/3 of the way through the episode, and that's, of course, an hour of my fucking life. I think I actually caught this live-ish. Like, I think I caught up in commercials, and it's like, there's still more, and I don't care. This can go either way. I feel like I know which direction it's going to go, but I don't care if it does. I don't care if it doesn't. I just... whatever happens, man. And that's a shitty place to be.
Well, how did you feel like this followed through on the narrative arc of the last episode? Did you feel like this was carried that story forward enough? Because obviously, like, we had the Sage and Jawan flip last episode. You get the consequences of that in this episode. In that sense, did it deliver for you?
Yeah, and like the best parts was early on when we're following up, like Sage's recovery from this and the way that she interacts. That's also another problem why I don't care is like it also follows up Jawan and him like celebrating his success, biggest move, Survivor 49, which is technically true, but fucking cares, right? Like it's either that or like a snake biting a dude, like that's where we're at.
Yep.
And that's the problem. And I talked about this last week, but you never heard and you never will.
Nope, I won't.
What dampened last week too is like I just don't like Jawan. So it's like him getting to crow about his success. I'm like, okay, like it's related to the success of somebody else I like, but like I don't like him. Like he just not like a hate or anything. Like it's just I find him annoying.
Well, there was a commenter on our site, and man, I wish I could credit this person, but they compared Jawan to like an NPC in a game where you're like, well, this person was supposed to be an inconsequential character, and like how did they actually did something, and now they're like part of the story. And you're like, wait, we didn't have dialogue written for you. That wasn't supposed to happen.
And it should be this underdog arc, right? Like he was held down, and they were all talking about him. Like, should we keep Jason and get rid of Jawan? Jawan thinks he's one of us. But the thing about that whole time is it's like, yeah, I'm fine that Jawan is the like I'm not rooting for him as an underdog because I didn't like him. Right. It's like I get why. Like he wasn't like held down because like the cool kids and all this. It's like I feel like he had his shot at being inner circle-ish and failed. Like they were like, no, actually we don't really like this guy. Like the vibes are bad. He's using my bag to collect firewood and all this. Like I understood their issue with Jawan, and now like he's like the brain trust of what's happening, and I don't really care for that. Now, what I do like is, again, talking about this last week in a forum that you'll never hear, I didn't like the move to vote out Nate. And that wasn't because like, oh no, they're voting my dad power Nate guy. It was just because it was a half measure, right? They had an opportunity to take out somebody of true consequence. Either Savannah, who looked like, look at the way she dived on that fucking like set of keys. Like this woman's a killer, and they talk about it in this episode. Or the guy that actually has an idol in Rizo. And like, no, let's go for the safe vote, Nate. And like, it's somewhat understandable, especially if you're the person with their neck on the line, which Steven is. What I said in that podcast is because this is the first time these people are voting at all. They don't have any reps.
Yep.
Right? So they just wanted to get an easy one. But in doing so, you're blowing this huge opportunity. This is an absolute blindside, and you have intel from people on the other side in Jawan and Sage that you're not going to have for the rest of the game. They're telling you that the shot is clear. You got to fucking take that because now you're in a situation where they're still around. The idol's still around. And there's fewer people. And everybody's like, well, you could just split the votes. And it's like, well, splitting the votes is fraught. Right? Then it happens is one person needs to flip and all of a sudden everything changes. And then the thing I didn't mention last week, and I probably should have, but these people really should have thought about is, are you sure that you're going to a tribal council where it can be 7-3? Because that's not how it's been in Survivor for a long time. Traditionally, this vote has been what this was. But some form of people are split into randomized group and voting. And like, it's not foreign to this group because they all brought their bags to the challenge.
Yep.
They were ready for it. So again, last week, you're like, well, we'll just get them next week. It's like, are you sure? Are you sure you're going to be able to get them next week? And lo and behold, no, you weren't.
Yeah. And that is the narrative arc that follows through this episode, because now you're seeing the consequences of the missed shot, right? They didn't take the shot. And now you've got Rizo still in the game, still with an idol. MC lost her idol in that last tribal council. Like all these things come back in this week, and it could have gone so much differently. And we see Sage talking about like, man, I really wanted to. They just wouldn't do it, and I understand the frustration. I actually, having said that, I should quickly say I also understand like MC and Steven. Well, more MC, because Steven had at least voted with Sage and Jawan. I understand MC being like, man, I can't be 100% certain that these guys are on our side. So, fine. Having said that, you still roll the dice. Like if you're willing to play your idol, then definitely roll the dice and take the shot at Rizo because he's got the idol. Or again, if you want to be slightly more conservative, then take the shot at Savannah. But the weak shot at tangentially hitting that alliance by hitting Nate, nah, that wasn't it.
Yeah, that's like 10 years ago Survivor thinking, we'll take out Edgar. Brilliant. And tribes aren't like that strong anymore. Taking out one person in alliance doesn't mean like now we win and it's just going to be us pagonging them the rest of the way. And you're saying like if you don't trust Juwan and Sage, you're not sure they're going to do it. You're already fucked by including them on the plan on Nate.
Yep.
Like if they are double agents, then the fucking idol goes to Nate. Like you're telling them where the vote's going to go either way. So the trust has to be there. And I think that's the other thing is they're trying to eliminate risk. And and there are times to do that, right? You try to minimize risks, but like they weighed the risks incorrectly. The bigger risk was when we come out of this tribal council, there's going to be still most likely, and look, man, you tried to get them to maybe you'll burn it anyway. Still an idol with fewer people to split votes on and all this. It's like you have the risk is less risky now. Because you have the intel, you have the people. And if you don't believe you have the people, then what are we doing here anyway? Then you should be telling them a totally different plan and then still putting the votes on Rizo, right?
Right.
So, yeah. And then you see it again in this very episode in that nobody's going after Rizo. And I get it, man. Like every time Jeff would be like, oh, now you're all going there and nobody has protection. I'm like, Rizo does. So I get that we can't, and everybody's trying to find the other option once things fall apart, and we'll get into that of not actually voting for Rizo. But in doing so, in trying to avoid the risk, one of you is at risk anyway. So it's there's always going to be some risk, and it's about balancing it. And I think they got it wrong, and we're seeing the consequence of it.
Well, let's talk about how we even got to that risk, right? Because what happened was, as they have done many times in the post-40 era, they split the tribe up for tribal council. Just 5 random people by rock draw. Lose a challenge, kind of, which is very funny to me. Is the other team beat you. Well, no, Savannah beat you. And then the rest of you lost. But yeah, so the group that lost to Savannah goes to tribal council, and we've discussed this in previous seasons, but how did this one sit with you, the splitting up the tribal?
If you have to do it, I prefer it this way. I prefer it and then this is again because of the true game changer of the season, the secret. I prefer it to then, hey, you're both going to tribal council, but one of you gets to eat and one of you will be on the jury and one of you won't. I prefer it at least that it's just 5 people, 5-ish voters. They had that little twist in with Savannah, which was cute enough if you're doing this. I prefer that it's just one person going home than 2.
Well, yeah, that part, yes. But it's,
I would prefer just to do a tribal council with everybody that made the merch, but that might be a bridge too far.
Right.
And for all of the international, you guys we just watched a season of International Survivor.
The only one we ever
wilder, yeah. They did wilder shit than this with splits and all of that. So
the one thing I'll say is having split down to a group of 5. At least all 5 of those people had their votes.
Yes,
so
exactly.
That's a plus. I guess it could have been worse. But now let's talk about the risk management, because since we have a group of 5 and Rizzo's in that group of 5, and Rizo does have the protection of an idol that everyone now knows about, was his not playing that idol just really lucky on his part, or was that a super shrewd game master move?
Yeah. The one thing, we're not there. Maybe it was from the actions of all these people dead fucking obvious that they weren't taking the shot, which case, yeah, smart. But just from just a neutral standpoint, you can't be sure, is it? And I'll say, because of what happens later with Savannah joining the tribe, revealing that she has this extra vote, it was the absolute, and it looked easy, just say now, retrospect and scoreboard, but it was the right move to take the risk of not voting. because you're right now at a 3-7 disadvantage, right? So it's already like a hole. You're going to need a few things to turn your way. Well, for this vote, you've already gotten one of them, which is only 5 people are voting, and you have this threat of the idol. So like the game has already created a scenario that gives you a chance to, bluff your way through one more time. Then they give you another thing, and now you have your partner there in Savannah. Like if it was truly against him, her vote wouldn't really matter, but it causes some chaos. It's a whole thing. Which case it's like, there's an opportunity here. If we survive this, idol still in hand, then you have a roadmap to like actually gain control of the game instead of just surviving one vote. Obviously, if they vote you out, then you didn't have it, but then you probably weren't ever going to, like, you were never going to turn the game in your favor anyway. So the roadmap now is if he survives this with his idol intact, now it's 6-3 disadvantage, assuming Soph is still with you. All right. So now, vote split time. 3 on Rizo, 3 on Savannah. Unless one of them's immune, then, Soph would be that. But you have that extra vote. If they vote split next week and they have to do it 3-3 because your side has 3, you can't go 4-2, although that has happened before.
I was going to say, it's not that you can't, you certainly
can't effectively do it, yes. It is a meaningless vote split that only serves to potentially screw you over.
Yes.
And look, and you do 3-3, and maybe you convince Soph to go over on your side, and then she's like the 4-3, right? But yeah, as soon as they do, and of course she won't actually flip. So as soon as they do 3-3, your side wins because you actually have 4 votes next week.
Yep.
So because of that, it's worth risking now because you're going to, if it works, you win this week. Then next week, you win next week. And now everything's flipped upside down and like you have a real chance to actually win instead of just surviving.
Right. At that point, the numbers are close enough that you can realistically have some room to maneuver.
Things happen. Well, on this point, you still have your idol too, because you're not going to play it because the votes.
Because you've got the 4-3. Yes. Yeah. I'm going to say, regardless of this, he's very lucky because it worked out extremely well for him. Although realistically, if you're in this group of 5 where you're the obvious target and you have an idol, the assumption is that you're going to play it, right? Like you don't have to work really hard to make people believe that you're going to play it because it would make sense for you to do so. So the problem that I had, and the reason why I say that Rizzo's lucky here, is because they absolutely could have, and realistically should have, still gotten him out. Like, they clearly accepted the potential for losing MC, right? Because they voted her out anyway. So if Rizzo's going to take his votes, and potentially Savannah's vote too, on MC, well then shit. Put all your votes on Rizo anyway, because worst case scenario, you lose MC, which clearly you were fine with because that's where your votes went. So like the boot that they got anyway was an acceptable risk for them. So Rizzo's just very fortunate in that, right? And the one thing that I have to mention too about like, I don't know if respect is the right word, but I do appreciate that Rizo was saying, you know what? I don't care if I go out at 10. I don't care if I go out at 4 or 5, whatever. I'm just here to try to win. So if I'm just going to like swing big, and if I go out here with the idol in my pocket, I'm fine with that as a risk. It's a valid way to play. It probably won't get you the win most of the often, but it is a valid thing to say, like, look, I don't care if I go 10th. I'm only trying for 1. So I'm just going to swing for the fences and hope, and I can be wrong, and I'll accept that.
Yeah.
Fine.
And like I said, in the specific circumstances of here, I think it works.
Yeah.
That it's like, this is a worthy risk because there is reward on the other side of this besides just, I still have my idol. That isn't quite there the same way if you play your idol. But here's the other thing. This gets back to the first thing I said, is he's on the island. He's actually around what's happening. It's not beyond the idea that he picked up on the vibes like, shit, they're not voting for me, or at least probably not, because everything else we see happening.
Right.
And one thing is, nobody's talking about his idol. Like, nobody seems to be trying to get him to do one thing. He apparently wasn't being like, okay, but I'm immune, right? Like, so there was a lot of that not going around. It's like, why is nobody kind of doing this? But like, they first approach him, by all indications, with the plan that it's Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it's MC, and it's like, okay, like enough is going on here. They're like, I feel like these people have changed their mind. Now, some of that MC stuff is him. Like,
Yes,
hey,
exactly.
I would rather be MC. And like when he was there, it was like, ooh, like that gave me a little pause. Like, oh, that seems like this is the time to call your shot. But,
Right.
But like maybe there was like enough scrambling and like you can get a sense like these people aren't very good actors that it's like it should be me, but I really feel like it isn't. And if that's like the read you're getting along with all of, again, the benefits I just broke down for why, it's best to like use this opportunity and keep your idol because that like gives you a path to win versus just survive and see if you get lucky the next time. I think it's a worthy gamble.
Well, let's talk about how they got there in the first place, right? Because in the beginning, everybody's like, yeah, obviously. Going for
Which is the move, by the way.
Yeah.
You should absolutely, like, I get, like, oh, man, if we're wrong, one of us is going home. But that's true if you're right. You know, like, there's no way, the only way you can avoid one of you going home is by voting out Rizo. Otherwise, you're either letting him choose or you're just preemptively choosing. And look, if it's a situation where it's like, yeah, I'm fine with losing this other person, then sure. But it doesn't seem like that's where they were.
Right. So the strategy at first is, of course, yeah, obviously, we're all going to vote for Rizo. We're going to, convince him to not play his idol. Then we got him.
Yeah. Moreover, it was Sophie being like, and you're going to tell him that the decoy boot is...
And
she was very unhappy about before.
Yes, and there's part 2 of it, right? Like, Sophie is like, oh, okay, well, here's what we do. We say that it's me. I'm happy to be the decoy. It's going to make sense here. She, like, lays out the logic. Well, you're scared of me because I'm a massive challenge beast from the 2 challenges that have taken place so far. So that's why you want me gone, right? And like you guys were red tribe, I'm yellow. This totally makes sense. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, that's the plan. Now, then, slight twist in the plan. Sophie decides, okay, I'm going to tell MC and only MC that actually I want to throw a vote on Jawan just in case this goes south and Rizo does play the idol, just to protect my own ass, right? Like,
yeah,
on its face, very reasonable strategy of protecting your own ass, right? Because obviously we'd heard at least Rizo considered targeting Sophie. So, with her 1 vote, that's about all she can do to stop going home, right? Like, the risk that she took was sharing that info publicly because she absolutely could have just been like, here's what we're going to do. We're all going to vote for Rizo. Never mention throwing a little vote on Jawan just to protect her own ass.
No.
It would obviously have come out at tribal council, but at the same time, that you would have survived that tribal council. So,
well, only if they decide to vote out Jawan instead of you.
Which you have to hope would be the case.
Well, I mean, I suppose that's the reason why you discuss it beforehand. He's like, hey,
but you
do that.
Only discussing with MC?
Yeah.
That's not going to be enough. Like, you would have had to have at least 2. So that was...
Well, let's get to that in a second. But no, like, the impulse is understandable. I can even understand why she would tell MC. As I said, you need to win the second vote. Just getting there isn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand that. And also, like, understand her, like, thinking that, like, MC's on her side.
Yep.
They've been together most of the game. There was, like, I think a day or 2 interregnum where they were not. But, like, MC was the one that was telling her, like, hey, these people are all aligning against you earlier in the game. And when that, like, failed, when, like, immediately MC is like, I'm going to go tell on this, it's like, man, this is why modern Survivor is so hard. Nobody cannot say things anymore, right? You can't tell anybody anything. But on the flip side, if you don't tell everybody everything, they fucking hate you for that too.
Right.
MC is in trouble in this episode because she did the understandable action of playing an idol on herself. And now like Joanne and like Sage are like, oh, I don't know. She doesn't trust me. And it's like, maybe she just wanted to survive. Why aren't you happy that she doesn't have an idol?
Right.
But she didn't tell me she had an idol. It's like, so like before, you could tell your allies things and you could not tell people things. And that's how it was. But now everybody says everything and it's hard.
I mean, even funnier is there used to be times when like you would pull out an idol that your ally didn't know about and they'd be like, oh shit, that's amazing. Like excited for the moment. And like now they'd be like, oh, how dare you? I never knew.
Let's stab in the back.
All right. I'm so betrayed. You're helping us right now? Oh, you monster. So
we should get back into like, so it's all an understandable plan. It would have failed.
Yeah, I mean,
probably would have failed, and this should be just spelled out for people. And I'll just give a credit to Mike Hirsch, who was the first to point it out in comments. Sophie didn't understand the math of what would happen here. Yep. So what happens in this? So in this scenario, what she's trying to play against is Rizo has played his idol. He's safe. So no votes count for Rizo.
Yep.
1 vote counts for Sophie, Rizzo's vote that she's assuming is going to happen because of the very plan that she's putting in place. And then her vote for Joanne. So now we get to a revote, Sophie versus Joanne. Sophie can't vote. Joanne can't vote. Rizo can vote. And I feel like she didn't kick that. So Rizo can vote. Sage can vote. MC can vote.
And unbeknownst to her at the time when she was coming up with this plan, Savannah can also vote.
Yes. And
which again, couldn't have been taken into account at this point.
Yeah. Do you assume that Sophie is winning a vote against Joanne where Sage and Rizo hold the majority of the votes? And the answer is probably not. Maybe Rizzo's like, yeah, fuck Joanne, that guy turned on me. But most likely, you're probably losing anyway, unless you're getting MC to also flip with you. So that you would just win. And, 2 votes Rizzo, 2 votes Joanne, 1 vote Sophie. Like, that's the only way it could work. Otherwise, all you're doing, and I can allow that. I understand why she didn't assume this would happen, is create a scenario where MC can destroy the entire plan by making Joanne mad at you.
Well, that's what I was getting at earlier, is that you would have needed MC and Sage. And at that point,
in a revote situation,
that's what I mean.
You should have just said, MC, you and me have to vote Joanne. Now, first
right.
Not
exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying is like, if this was your plan to throw 1 vote, you would have also had to tell Sage that too. Cause like, hey, this is my contingency plan. And if it comes to this, we're going to all vote Joanne, right? Which again, you're just adding more risk, which is fine. You encounter risk in this game. It's okay to take on some risk, but didn't even get that far. But,
So what happens, of course, is MC goes to Joanne and rats her out. It's presented in the episode as though MC is doing this because to regain trust with Joanne, who was being all pissy that he did. She played an idol that he didn't know that she had. It's come out since in interviews, and we don't often get into interviews. Often for the simple answers, we don't read or hear interviews. But secondly, everything said about what happened in the game by people that were in there needs to be taken with a grain of salt.
Yep.
But this holds some believability that she did that because she was uncomfortable with the idea that the first 2 votes post-merge would be Black people. And she cites season 42.
Yep.
Fun note for 42. Won by a Black woman.
Yep.
But in part because that Black woman had that reaction at the tribal council where it was going to go down. And I think I got a little bit more context today that like MC isn't a big Survivor fan. Like I think they just started watching it recently. So maybe 42 was the most recent one. I don't know enough about that part. So that destroys everything because Joanne hears this and it's like, all right, she's got to go. Like, it's all flips. Yep. What did you think of MC's move here?
Well, I mean, that's the other thing is she wanted the first 2, post-merge votes not to be Black people. How'd that turn out? Like the scoreboard
exactly.
did not work out the way you hoped.
Look, I understand. No foot to stand on in here. I've never been in a scenario where I am, a minority other than like basketball courts or whatever. But yeah, man, like it never works in Survivor when you're trying to find the secondary goal of winning for the people,
Right.
Whether that is race, sex, religion, whatever. Typically, when that's like another motivation, you can help with that because you're going to vote from the jury. You're not going to win.
Yeah. I mean, we've had this discussion many times, but like the cause comes secondary to the individual in this game. And because it's essentially a mean game. Like it is not a game that is set up to reward good behavior. So
I'll also say that like a day late on that one because you shouldn't have voted out Nate.
right?
And everything would be fine. You shouldn't have done it anyway, regardless of this. And it seemed to be like you and Christina were the architects of that plan. And then the other thing I'll say is like one reason why it feels like a lot of black people go in a row now in Survivor is because there's a lot more black people, In
Right.
the olden days, there wasn't a clump of, non-white people being voted out because there weren't any.
Right. There were like 2 in the entire cast.
Yes.
Yeah. And often they didn't even make the merge. So how is that merge vote going to go?
So yeah, like I just don't like. Again, she said that it was outside of the game, and frankly, it's a better explanation because if your other explanation is I'm just going to tell Jawan to build trust, no, you're going to destroy the fucking plan here.
Yep.
What did you think Jawan was going to do? Like, oh, all right, cool, good to know, but let's still just go for it and see what happens.
Yeah. So let's add yet another element to this, which is that Savannah comes riding in on her boat. She announces to everybody like, "Oh, hi, I'm here. I'm going to be going to tribal council with you guys." She obviously does not let most of them know that she gets to potentially bank her vote. She does let her one ally know that. And then he, at that point, I think the light is going off. Like, I think he was realistically not going to play his idol anyway. Yeah. But at this point, I think he's further motivated to be like, oh shit, if I do survive this, we're finally set up. Like it looked pretty grim for us about 24 hours ago, but now things are really looking up if I can get past this vote, or technically we can get past this vote because Savannah's going to survive. So yeah, at that point, do you think that her arriving helped convince him like, no, I got to do this?
I think it gave like a boost of confidence. Like materially, her coming like should not matter, right? It's one vote against 4. It really shouldn't matter. Even if you're worried, you can do 2-2-2, right? But I think it was just enough of like a what the hell is going on to something that was already like fraught because of the MC situation and all of that. That I think just the fear that Jawan has for her in particular, I think it was enough to be like, no, everything's like, going our way. Whereas, Rizo gets to talk to somebody. They could like, you could see, and obviously we don't know the chronology of everything, but some we do. If Savannah is in a scene with Rizo, that comes after Savannah joins the island.
Yep.
Math. Like he had more swagger, like he's just like, yeah. So I think it was a boost of confidence for him. I think it was a boost of fear and just like, what's going on in the other group? And I actually do think it might have helped turn the tide. Even though it shouldn't have.
I also found it hard to like hear any of the things you just said because you started with Savannah coming should not matter, and I was kicking myself for not saying phrasing, and then I just could only think of my missed opportunity there for the rest of the time you were talking. So
it's funny you say that because I think earlier in the episode she herself says like I'm going to come hard.
Yeah,
I was like,
she
whoa.
did. Yep, and I think I even thought at the time, are we not doing phrasing anymore? Just nope.
So that was a hat tip, a shout out.
Yep.
Yeah. And then like the other reason why this whole thing fails, and maybe the reason why I couldn't like get excited about, is it going to happen? And it's like, I just didn't have much faith in the non-Rizo Savannah group that they were going to pull something off. Like they already last week did not strike me as bold thinkers. It's clear that they're not listening to Sage, even though they should. Like it's in her name, man. She knows what she's doing.
But that's the wild thing, right? Like it really should be that Sage is the master strategist because her reads are correct, which is insane. Right. And I think, it's sort of like Carolyn, as we brought up earlier in the episode, like similar vibe to Carolyn where people were like just not taking her seriously enough. Like, she actually is a much better player than it seems like she should be. And yeah, Sage has made the right calls. It's just people are not going along with them. And then she has to be like, well, shit, I don't have the social capital to get everybody behind me and to make them vote the right way. So
yeah. So then, and we get, so now like Jawan's a shot caller. Like he's shown some savviness, like with switching the rock and all that. But I also think he's kind of a moron. And like if you want evidence, it's like, dude voted out MC. The person who told him somebody's coming for him instead of the person who was coming for him.
Yep.
And why does he do this? I think because Rizo got in his head. So like the guy you were actually trying to get rid of, the guy you turned your back on and backstabbed yesterday, you're going to go with his suggestion of how to play this. It's like, but how does that help Jawan?
Also, the same guy that at the start of the episode you were like on and on pretending that I'm back and I'm all good with Rizo, but that's all an act. And then, end of the episode, actually, you're voting alongside him to take out someone who gave you information that was someone voting for you. So,
So like when this all shakes out, unless he's like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. Uli strong again, which would be dumb in one way. Is he's like, all right, I'm going to form my alliance with Sophie, the person who is trying to throw me under the bus to protect herself?
Yep.
Yep, that's it.
We team now. Yeah.
So it's like, it was hard. Like, it's like, so like, I don't personally like Rizo or Savannah, although I do find them to be like at the top of the entertainment value of the season. It's not a high pyramid, but it exists. Right. So it's like, I don't really care if they succeed, but at the same time, I don't really care that these other people, because again, like Sage didn't really seem like she had her preference. She wanted to get rid of Rizo.
Yep.
But like once people were like changing, it's like, fuck, I don't care. It's like, and to be fair to her, she shouldn't really care that much. It's not the worst thing in the world that like one less of her alliance of 7 is not there after this vote,
yep.
Right? So it's like, so since she wasn't engaged, it's like, I think I know what's going to happen. I don't think Rizzo's going anywhere, and I don't care.
Yeah. Let's talk a little more about Savannah, by the way, because there was a moment in this episode. I don't want to see if it read to you in the same way that it did to me. We saw her, she's down and out, right? She's on the bottom of this last vote. She's like, oh man, I can't believe this. I was riding high. I was in the in group. Now I'm outside the out group or outside the in group, and I feel a certain way. And so we get this backstory from her, right? And she's talking all about how she was this outcast and she was othered by this group, and just it was very traumatic for her. When I was watching this is what I'm thinking. One reaction to having that happen to you is to think, I don't ever want my own actions to make others feel the way that I felt when that happened to me, right? Like
that would be a reaction.
That is a reaction that you could have. Another far more common reaction is that should never happen to me because I don't deserve that. It should be me doing that to others because I should be in the in group. The former resonates with me, the latter does not. And I kind of got the vibe Savannah's a little more latter than former. What about you?
Yeah. Or like that's the defense mechanism. This will never happen to me again because I will always be on top, right? And not even thinking about, for me to be on top, that means I'm going to exclude other people.
Yes.
And frankly, I think that's there, and that's not letting her off the hook. I feel like that's what happens with people.
Yeah, I think it's very common.
That's a driving action of like a lot of what's happening in our society is like, I fuck you, I got mine.
Right.
And explaining to these.
It's like I may not get it to the top, but I can push you down, and that makes me feel higher.
And yeah, man. What a quick aside. It's like as it was happening, she's sharing her no reason to believe it's not true story. It's like, this is probably why you don't always need to lie about your profession, because if you're gonna give like these personal details of this, and all of a sudden it's like, but I have to be really cagey about what that job was.
Mm-hmm.
But what really struck me is, that moment, I believe her, and bringing up traumatic moments. And then she gets a taste, just a taste of it turning around, right? She wins the challenge. She's got the immunity. And now you get to go do this other thing. And she is fucking riding high. Like, fuck you, bitches. It's me. And I got to say, I fucking loved it.
Oh, really?
So my wife was like out, right? Like, and Savannah's like, and I like even said something like, I deserve this and all this. And my wife's like gritting teeth. I'm like, okay, here's what I need you to understand. I don't like Savannah as a person, but I fucking love that this psychopath is going from I'm the queen bee, all this to like, oh no, things aren't working for me. And like the fakest shit, like, oh, congratulations for that blindside, guys. And then like, oh no, everything's falling apart. And then like the second, it's like fucking queen bee again. And it's like, that's what I want more out of Survivor and that we haven't got enough. I'm tired of all this. Oh, what was me? I'm so excited that I touched the hollow ground that like some buddies whose name I can't even remember was on here 6 years ago. And oh my God, it's Jeff, Uncle Jeff. And I can't believe I'm on Survivor. No, I want these psychopaths. Was like, fuck yeah, I'm on top. I always should be. I deserve this. I want more people on Survivor. And this is a consistent opinion that I've shared for several seasons now who are like, I deserve this. Not I'm so lucky to be here. So that's why I find her engaging in terms of this season. And actually, I've been saying that throughout the season. And frankly, it's because I'm the one who's been on the show for the season. What is your take on Savannah?
I mean, I'm with you in that I am sometimes entertained by the self-absorbed and the unself-aware. I don't know. She's okay. And I think I kind of sit more with your position earlier, which is that like, she is entertaining, but only relative to the rest of the cast, which is very not, right? Like there are very few other people in this cast that I'm like, if I did not see Alex again for the rest of the season, I'd be fine with that. I probably wouldn't notice he was gone. Same with Christina. I don't care.
She got an idol today. That's
right.
All we're gonna say about it.
Right. I know. It's just, I guess, man. But at least Savannah's doing something. I don't necessarily like everything that she's doing, but at least she's doing stuff. And it just
look. There's a total mean girl vibe. Like I don't like her. I'm not rooting for her. But she's given me something in a season where so few very are.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the mean girl thing because that was the defining Sage moment of the episode for me, because we got to see Sage saying like, I don't like that Savannah. She's a mean girl, but maybe I can be a mean girl now. And I was like, yes, queen, do it. And it is very funny because that feels wildly hypocritical for me to say that right after just discussing how I felt about Savannah. Nope, I don't care. I was super pumped for Sage to go mean girl, less so about Savannah to do it.
It's okay if you feel like this is awkward. This is an awkward situation. Like, fuck yeah.
Yes. Yes. Hang a lantern on it. So good.
Because this isn't awkward for me.
No.
I'm fine.
Yeah. But for you, so awkward.
Ooh, I'd hate to be in your shoes. I kind of was for a while there. It sucked.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I was going to say, I don't know if you remember. You guys made me feel that way.
Yeah.
She's so good.
Her bullshit detector is fantastic.
Love
but then that's kind of like all we got from her was like that, and that might have been the highlight of the episode. And that dynamic. Again, that's something Savannah's bringing is that dynamic, right? Actual dynamism. So few are. So that's just kind of where I'm at. And now I think it'll be a sad season and maybe indicative of the season is if Savannah is the star of the season, which it kind of felt like so far. Again, I'm Team Sage. But so far, she's not a starring act.
Agreed.
Right? Which I think is better for her. Anyway, what else we got?
Well, let's talk about the third member of their tiny alliance. Because Sophie, who you may remember, not Sophie that was in the tribal council this episode. The other Sophie, who I guess we have to call Soph, which just seems ridiculous. Blue Sophie.
Really, we fucked up. We should have been calling the other one Other Sophie this whole time, but that's on us.
Yeah. Anyway, so Blue Sophie, you may not remember this because we don't get to see her much. Rightfully so, because she's not bringing anything to the table. She actually has a knowledge is power advantage. Do you think that now, at some point, because now you can maybe feel the season starting to turn, do you think that actually gets played successfully?
The window is open. We slammed it shut. We're like, what fucking cares? That never matters and all this. What's the odds? All she knows about is Rizzo's. And then like last week, I was pissed. Like, how do you not steal MC's idol? Just to have it. Just because you know where an idol is. I feel like the window is open. I feel like there's a chance that she learns of Christina's idol through Alex, who knows about it, and snatches that thing. It's on the table, and that could be very fun.
So see, I want to believe that. And yet, I have no faith in her playing this game in any sort of effective or entertaining or proactive way. I don't see it from her. It's entirely possible because you're right. Like, Christina is such a minor character. She does clearly, Sophie does clearly have a path to find out about that idol and a way to acquire it, right? Like, it's all laid out. There's an arc just sitting right in front of us that we can explore in future episodes. And I still will not be surprised if that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but maybe what is like, they're all sharing like, hey, we got this extra vote. This is how it's going to go. And then maybe she pipes up, oh, and I have this. And something she has rightfully been determined not to share. But then he the moment, the excitement. And then maybe it's like Rizo and Savannah. It's like, oh, here's what you need to do, Now, I don't know how they hear about it.
Right.
Or maybe it's that, like, it's like, we got this, and it's like, we're going to both be immune, like, one of them's immune, and she wants to be immune. It's like, oh, I've heard about this. Like, I'm not guaranteeing it's going to happen, but now I can see that it could happen based on who has the idol and who knows about it.
Right. I mean, it certainly would play into a comeback story for this group of three, right? Like, it would make sense if that was part.
I find it easy to believe that the non-Sage members on that other side will fuck it up.
Yeah, that's a fair point, because we have evidence that they're not very good at this game. Hey, let's talk about something I know I obviously didn't listen to last week's podcast, as you noted, but some people did, apparently. I guess our usual crowd. And then one of those people went and posted on Reddit about the Sophie conspiracy theory, which you
were a fan of, right? You were the person that featured it.
I did. Yeah. Because, I mean, do I necessarily believe it? No, I mean, it not necessarily, but also I can see, like, if you were looking for an explanation, it's not that insane. Did you properly credit our commenter who came up with it?
Yeah, it was stick to the plan. I read their comment in full.
Okay.
And something I should clarify. Although, I think the person who posted it to Reddit, we're mostly talking about because it's just funny that it's broken containment already.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people were weighing in, right?
Yeah,
I think the person who doesn't do this, there was at least one person comment who threw something like, I didn't actually support the theory. I just shared it.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't actually think that's what's happening. I think the more realistic one always is people are underfeatured because they're not entertaining.
Yep.
Or plot relevant or both. But it was fun. It was a very good, well thought out argument. Enough to be like, and that's what's that's how these, and what I like about it, how it's broken containment is I don't even think stick to the plan thinks that this is what happened.
This is just
a thought exercise, right? Yeah. Well done one. And now people might what I really want is 6 months from now, a year from now, wherever. People in different fan forums, and it'd probably have to get shared for us to notice, are starting to talk about this theory it's accepted truth.
That has happened to many Survivor insane rumor theory things in the past. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it would be funny.
Of course, this is how conspiracy theories grow. Now, those people are debunking it. There's at least one person in our comments. There were some people in the Reddit no, it's you're probably right. Again, we're just having a little bit of fun here.
Yep.
But, sometimes conspiracy theories seem like they're fun, and then they lead to the destruction of society. So if you're just anti-conspiracy theory all the way, I support that.
Yep.
I just don't think this show, this idea, our podcast and corner of the internet, I don't think any of that matters. So we can just fuck around and have some fun with it.
Yep. Hey, speaking of fucking around and having some fun, let's move into some top 3 for this week. As you mentioned earlier, the one continuing thread that this season seems to have, along with San Juan del Sur, is we've been doing some talk about food. let's keep that trend going. Let's talk top 3 sandwiches this week.
Yeah, so that was the reward. They got these deli sandwiches, so it was the first thing. And honestly, I feel like there's been many times where like sandwiches is an idea, and then like either I was like maybe we already did that, or at the very least, we can do that later. One kind of fun one is I thought we could do our top 3 MCs, masters of ceremonies, rappers. But as I started thinking about it more, it's like, I'm very old and very white to be doing this. And we've talked about rap before.
That's the thing, is we've probably essentially done that list without doing that list.
But it's like, then I was formulating, like, I feel like there's a difference between an MC and a rapper.
That's true.
Then
That's
I was trying to define it, and like, I don't think anybody needs to hear my old white ass to be like, no, this is what the real hip hop is. So it's like, let's just stay clear. And instead, sandwiches, because who doesn't have a sandwich take?
You gotta have sandwich takes.
Sandwiches are fantastic. Like, what a fantastic invention. What is it? Like, the guy like just needed his hands free while he was like killing people at chess or some shit. I can't remember why he invented it, but it was something like that.
Surely there is some legend associated with it.
Well, it's from the Earl of Sandwich.
Sure.
And then people, in comments, somebody hit us up. I'm not gonna look it up. You got an honorable mention?
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna go back to childhood here, and I give a shout out to the BK Long Boy, the Burger King chicken sandwich, and I'm talking
it still exists, I believe.
Oh yeah. It's I think they still. I mean, I haven't been to Burger King in fucking decades, but
I think my kids had it like a year ago, and they're like, "This is fucking awful."
Did they have the Long Boy?
Yeah.
Oh no!
No, you're up in Canada,
Well, I mean, I don't know. Also, I was eating it when I was like 8.
Sure, right?
It could have been like total shit, and I'd been like, "This is amazing. It tastes like a fucking chicken tender," which it does, at least from my memory. It's oval shaped. I'm trying to describe this for our foreign audience because we have a substantial amount of those. So it's like a kind of oval shaped patty, and it's like all breaded in like an Italian breading thing. And then they just like slice it on a diagonal for reasons no one understands. And yeah, it was like my childhood favorite. Like I would beg to go to Burger King because I wanted to get one of those.
All right, one thing actually I wanted to get into for there's some people out there that really like to get into the weeds about what is a sandwich and what's not, right? And there was, that hoary internet argument however long ago, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Right.
And to those people, I want to say, nobody likes you.
Right.
Don't be that person. You're the person who, like, we're playing categories and tries to get really cute. It's like, no, it kind of means this. And it's like, shut up. All right, so here's the deal. No, a hot dog isn't a sandwich. A taco isn't a sandwich. We invented words that mean things for certain things. And this is how you know, and credit to Brad on this one. I think he said this years ago when people were talking to this. If you asked somebody, or somebody asked you, do you want a hot dog sandwich? What do you think you're getting?
Right.
You're not getting a hot dog. You're getting a hot dog chopped up in bread.
Yep.
Because that's what sandwiches are. So fuck you. Oh, it's meat and bread. Yeah, that has a different name and a different purpose. This isn't semantics. It's not fun to get into these arguments. A sandwich is a sandwich. We know what a sandwich is.
Yep.
That said, my honorable mention is an honorable mention because I don't know if it qualifies as a sandwich. The name says it does. And that's a steak sandwich. Because here's the question: is an open-faced sandwich a sandwich?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
The utility of a sandwich is it's a handheld,
right? Because you should be able to grab both sides to then stuff your face with it, right? Like, yeah. I don't.
And then here's
know.
the other thing: like steak sandwich, open-faced sandwich in particular. Most of the time, they're just serving you a piece of steak with garlic toast. Like, they're not even putting it on the bread.
Right.
I do like to put the steak on the bread when I get it so that the toast will soak up the meat juices.
Yep.
So like that's why it's honorable mention. It's probably not really a sandwich, but it's called a sandwich. So,
and then also you get like the garlic and the butter from the toast mixing with the steak.
Exactly.
It's good stuff. Yeah.
But it's not like, and I'm like so there you go. Honorable mention. I'll jump into my number 3 and then you go yours. So for my number 3, getting very specific here, there was this Italian restaurant that was a few blocks away from where I worked at the time that had this amazing chicken Parmesan sandwich. It had this roasted red peppers, this crusty bun. It was far too much food for my lunch break, but I'd go there anyway. And they closed down probably like COVID times, and I still think about and miss that sandwich. Like, so it's like chicken parm sandwich was like I've literally not had a chicken parm sandwich anywhere else. It's just like the ghost of that lingers.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too. When you first said it, I'm like, oh no, did they close down for health violations? And he's about to be like, I have regrets.
I stopped working at that place, so I wouldn't go. But like, I worked somewhere else that like I could still reasonably walk to. So like, I did get to there eventually. But then yeah, so I'm sure it shut down during COVID because it's no longer. And it's like I've never seen that anywhere else.
I have had
I miss it.
I have had a chicken parm sandwich before, and it's very good if it's
Yeah,
done well.
Yeah,
I've had versions that were not done well, but like when it's done perfectly, and like you said, the roasted red peppers, yes, it's crucial.
Like there's a sub place near our house. It's a Canadian chain, far superior to Subway, which is a low bar.
Yeah. Way to
They
set the bar
offer
on the
chicken
ground.
parm sandwiches, and that's what my oldest son. That's his sandwich, and I've never ordered it because I'm like, it's not going to be that sandwich.
Yep.
It's not even come close to that. So like, yeah, the rest of my list will be things anybody else can have, but like, it's possible that's the best sandwich I've had.
Yeah, I'm gonna have one of those on my list where it's like, okay, this is a me specific one. I'm trying to be relating to the people with the rest though. So in that vein, my number 3, and you're gonna get mad because I'm being a little too cute here. A chipwich, an ice cream sandwich, also known as a rich witch. It's 2 cookies, ice cream in between. The concept of a sandwich, it's a handheld, it's a dessert, it's delicious. Again, something I had a whole lot more as a child than I will ever have as an adult. But damn, just even the memory of it, I'm like, that shit was so good. Like combination cookie and ice cream, and you can just hold it and just go to town on it. A+. Amazing sandwich.
All right, for my number 2, I'm going to go to the other side. So I talked about like the best sandwich I ever had. This is some like gourmet shit and all this. Instead, now I'm just going to go with an old reliable. Like this is my standard. I feel like having a sandwich. And it's not special. It's not going to get anybody excited, but like a ham sandwich is always there for you.
You throwing cheese on that bad boy?
Sometimes it depends. I like it both ways. Depends on the cheese.
Phrasing.
Sometimes I'll go with processed singles, which my wife will always inform me that's not real cheese. When it says fake cheese, it's like it's just cheese. In fact, actually, and I've infected my sons that way. So it's like, what kind of cheese do you want? And my son's like, the only kind. And then she started proceeding to like grab cheddar. I'm like, I don't think that's what he
Nope, that's not what he views as cheese.
Or the usual, I think is what the usual kind, or normal cheese, I think is what he was calling it.
Yeah.
So sometimes, and like it's the ceiling on a ham sandwich is low.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've had a spectacular ham sandwich in my life, but the floor is high. Like the only way I've had a bad ham sandwich is like maybe I shouldn't have used that ham. You know
right. What I mean? Like, it's been a few days that's been in the fridge, and it was right on that borderline area.
So was that the color, or was it the lighting in the fridge? I don't know. But yeah, often a sandwich is that. I often won't like my ham sandwiches as a lunch, although that's what I had today. More like I'm a little hungry. I'm gonna need something to get me between meals, and then it's like a quick ham sandwich. And it's like it hits the spot. It's where it's at. It's not special, but it's good. Now I will say like Cubans, which is like a form of a ham sandwich. Those are really good.
Oh well, that's my number 2.
Okay. Where you have better access to a true Cuban. I've always like, do I trust the Alberta Cuban?
Yeah, that's the thing is, in Florida, if you want a Cuban sandwich, you can absolutely get it, and we have good Cuban down here. So yeah, the Cuban sandwich, for those that don't know, again, because we have a lot of people, international audiences. So Cuban sandwich is on Cuban bread, which I guess the best thing I can relate to, close to a French baguette in that vein. And then it's got ham, pork, pickles, cheese. I think it's Swiss cheese. And a little mayo, optional if you want the mustard. A lot of times it has it. But yeah, you press that bad boy, get it all nice and like warm and gooey, and it's fucking delicious. It's really good.
Yeah, we had some good Cubans on a cruise I took, and like often to get the sandwiches, it was like a 20-minute wait, but it was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just one of those things. They actually, there's a slight, it's kind of like a semantic thing, but it's sometimes called a medianoche, which means like midnight sandwich. It's like a drunk person's sandwich. And it's roughly similar to the Cuban sandwich. Sometimes there's a slight variation on it, but it's essentially those same ingredients. And yeah, there's just like, you're out having a good time and it's late at night. And you're like, I want a fucking Cuban right now. I want it so bad. And it's a spot. It's so good.
So my number one sandwich, like the one that like if it's on your menu and like I just feel like having a sandwich, is the one I'll most likely order, is a roast beef sandwich. Now I feel like it has a lower floor than a ham sandwich, because sometimes that roast beef is just like meh.
Yep.
Like flat, but it has a much higher ceiling. Like you can get some really good roast beef in there, and it's doing it, and you got like a good like Texas toast size bread, and like it's tastes much better. Again, like my top two are like, this is a sandwich I could order any restaurant. Like I didn't go for the special ones, but like roast beef is better than ham, but like I'm going to trust ham if I'm not like, if I'm like,
right,
I don't know about this place, or whatever.
The ham is the safe option.
Ham is the one I'm more likely to make at home.
Yeah.
Than roast beef. Yeah.
So my number one is as I mentioned earlier, like it's just as you had a go-to sandwich place, right? There's one place that I don't even remember like how I found it. We just ended up there one day and it was like lunchtime. I was like, oh, this is a chicken pesto sandwich. That sounds pretty good. And it was just like grilled chicken, well seasoned, got some pesto on it, some cheese, and then some roasted zucchini, which again, not like a huge zucchini fan, but I'm like, all right, I'm willing to trust your vision, chef. And on like just the perfect bread for that. I can't even tell you what the bread was. It's brownish. And it was fucking delicious. And to the point that I was like, I left. I'm like, I want to go back there tomorrow. I want that sandwich again. That was so fucking good. And like, I've gone back several times and taken people there and be like, you got to try this fucking sandwich. It's so good. Chicken pesto sandwich. I could lay out the ingredients for you if anyone wants to try to attempt to make it at home. A+ stuff. It was so good.
That sounds like a good sandwich.
It's a good fucking sandwich. All right. Let's wrap this thing up. PopRockPodcast.com is our website. You can go on there. You can comment. You can give us your own conspiracy theories, as Stick to the Plan did. Maybe we'll put them out and, help them spread to various corners of the internet for you. You could also, if you're not a commenter, you could text us, hit the little button that's somewhere in your whatever podcast app you're listening to. Then you can text us and we'll get your message and not be able to respond to you other than on this podcast. And of course, if you happen to be playing our fantasy league, I will post scores on Monday. We did go through a bit of a thought exercise this week on like how we were going to score the challenge. Roughly, Savannah won that challenge, so she should get more points than the other people who technically, quote unquote, won that challenge. So that's how it's going to go down. Anything else you want to add, Andy?
I'm going to go make myself a sandwich.
Let's get a fucking sandwich and hit the theme music.
This is the copyright-free outro.